Now the Passover and the festival of unleavened bread were only 2 days away, and the chief priests and the teachers of the law were scheming to arrest Jesus secretly and kill him. But not during the festival, they said, or the people may riot. While he was in Bethany, reclining at the table in the home of Simon the leper, a woman came with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, made of pure nard. She broke the jar and poured the perfume on his head. Some of those present were saying indignantly to one another, "Why this waste of perfume? It could have been sold for more than a year's wages and the money given to the poor." And they rebuked her harshly. "Leave her alone," said Jesus. "Why are you bothering her? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, and you can help them any time you want, but you will not always have me. She did what she could. She poured perfume on my body beforehand to prepare for my burial. Truly I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her."
Now I understand what Dad said to me this morning. He said, "If you don't laugh at the bumper, we are no longer friends." Okay. Oh, goodness. I think that maybe I need to really start previewing those before I get up here, perhaps. So the sermon series this month has been about love. The bottom line for this week is love God with everything you've got. Now, Matthew, Mark, and John, they all share this particular story about the anointing at Bethany. Matthew and Mark's versions are much closer to each other than John's. If you know anything about the book of John, you will know that that's almost always the case. It's believed that Simon the leper was actually the father of Lazarus and Mary and Martha. John's gospel says that it was Judas who was upset about the wastefulness of the perfume. But the one thing that they all had in common was the fact that Jesus stood up for her. He said, "Leave her alone. Why are you bothering her? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, and you can help them at any time you want. But you will not always have me." She did what she could. She poured perfume on my body beforehand to prepare for my burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her. He felt so strongly about what she had done for him. So strongly that he said, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her. Here we are, thousands of years later, sharing the story of her, of Mary. Now, Jesus wasn't saying that we should neglect the poor. That's not what he was saying. What he wanted to do was he was praising Mary for her unselfish act of worship. That's what he wanted us to remember. Thousands of years later, we still have poor people in our communities, in the world. We're still struggling with trying to help them. But he wanted us to remember that she did what she could. That she acted. Now, often in our lives we have opportunities that may come up where we can do something for someone else. Maybe it's just a smile to brighten somebody's day. Maybe it is telling that person at the register, after you've waited in line for the 20 minutes and you're agitated, but maybe it is that just kind, you're doing a great job today. The one thing that she did at that moment that nobody else had done, she acted. How often do we get the opportunity to step up and do something, and for whatever reason, we don't? Maybe it's out of fear, or we're afraid we're going to be embarrassed, or we're going to embarrass the other person, or we're just not sure how to approach the situation, right? But she didn't just think about it. She acted on it. Now, there's been times when I've seen someone and wanted to help, but wasn't really sure how to approach the situation for whatever reason. You know, maybe it was someone older than me, and so you don't want to imply by offering to help that they're incapable, right? Or somebody with a handicap, and you don't want to imply that they're incapable of doing whatever, but you still have that urge to help in some way. And I can tell you that many times when I've been in that situation, I haven't helped. Because I'm more worried about hurting that person's feelings by implying that they're not capable of doing something. And then I feel bad the whole rest of the day because I should have. I had the opportunity. I was more than capable of helping them do whatever it may have been. But I didn't act. And I'm sure that there's been times in all of our lives when we've done that. When we've had an opportunity, but we're not sure how to just walk up to a complete stranger and say, hey, can I help you today? It's really as easy as that, but still we all kind of, right? We're just not sure. She didn't act out of obligation. She wasn't obligated to do anything, right? It was a meal. She could have helped her sister. We know about the sister dynamics of these two, right? She saw an opportunity. She thought through what she could do. She didn't do it out of obligation. She did it out of the love that she had for Jesus. She carried out the act herself. She didn't come up with a plan and then say, hey, Vicki, you want to, because I'm kind of embarrassed, I don't know how this is going to go. I think the disciples are going to be pretty upset with me for just kind and then I can just stand back, and if it goes well, I can say it was my plan, but if it goes bad, then you can get yelled at, right? She didn't do any of that. She wanted to share her love for Jesus. She didn't wait to be invited, right? How many times do we see something and we kind of stand back and we wait for that person to say, hey, can you help me? I need help, whatever, right? And we know how we all love to say those words to somebody, right? When you're struggling, I mean, it's the first thing you want to say is, I need help, right? But she didn't wait to be invited. She acted. She didn't think about acting. She did it. She didn't do it out of obligation. She did it out of love. She didn't pass it off to somebody else. She acted right then when it would matter most to him. She seized the moment. She acted out of her love for Jesus. She knew that he loved her. And now she had an opportunity to show him how much she loved him. She did what she could. She acted out of what she had. She took something that she had, that she could physically do. She had this jar of expensive perfume, more like an oil. I guess you could think about it as an essential oil with a lovely fragrance. She didn't sit around wishing she had something or wishing she could do this or maybe I could do that. She looked at what she had in front of her. What could she do with what she had? And then she didn't try to do everything that she could, right? She didn't say, well, I could anoint his head, and then I could do this, and then I could go help Martha in the kitchen, and then we could do this, and then I could wash his feet, and then, no. It's not about trying to do everything. It's about trying to do one thing. Maggie and Jody are always doing missional things with the kids. They don't try to do 100 different things in one night, right? They're teaching the kids that one kid can do one thing and make a huge difference. She did what she could with what she had, with what was with what she was capable of doing. She gave what she had. She did what she could. Now we're talking about a specific woman with a specific story who acted out of the particulars of her life. She acted because she knew she was loved and wanted to love back. Now, a couple weeks ago, we heard the story of Mary and Martha, another story of these sisters. And Jesus had come to the house, right? And Mary went and she sat at his feet and she listened to his stories. And her sister Martha is bustling around and she's making sure everything's perfect, the food is perfect, the house is perfect. And she gets agitated with her sister. Because her sister is sitting there doing nothing, right? And she goes to Jesus and she says, why are you letting her just sit there and do nothing, right? And she's expecting expecting Martha, remember? Martha's expecting Jesus to jump on her side, and that is not how that goes. Right? Because he tells her that out of the two, Mary made the better choice. And we talked about living in the moment. Mary is still living in the moment. Jesus is at their house again for another meal. And she does what she can. Perhaps she's the only one who could. She did what she could. She acted with what she had. She acted where she was. She acted when it mattered. She used what she had to work with. We all have a different set of skills, a different set of gifts. You would never want me to play the piano for you or sing a solo. It is not a gift I have. But Vicky and Barb and Talonda, the entire Lipsky clan obviously are very talented. That's their gift. That's one of their gifts. I know they have many more, I'm sure. Vicky thinks she can make chili. That's not one of her gifts. We'll find out next Sunday.
You guys are going down. You got a trophy from last year. That's
All right. That's not really chili, but okay. Mary used what she had. What she could do, her gifts. She didn't sit and complain, well, I can't do this. I'm not Martha, cooking and all of that. That's not really my thing. I don't know what to do. That's not what she did. She went with the gifts that she had so that she could show that the love that she received from Jesus Christ, that she could turn that around and show him the love that she was feeling. What if I did what I could? As a result of my actions, someone could be helped. As a result of my actions, I could be better. As a result of my actions, the world could be better. One person doing one small act of kindness can create a ripple effect. Can you imagine if we have Ash Wednesday is Wednesday night. Can you imagine if every one of us in this room for 40 days and for 40 nights went out into our communities, right? And I'm not saying ignore your families. You do this at home too, don't ignore your husband and show everybody else kindness. You may not like that. But what if each and every one of us, every day, did one small act of kindness? Reached out to someone in some form or fashion. Whatever your gift is, we all have different gifts. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It can simply be telling someone, you're doing an awesome job today. When I see you, you make me smile. they're working, they're at work, you're at work, and somebody just comes up to you and says, you know what, I'm glad I got the chance to see you today because you made me smile today. And then just walked away. Do you know the effect that you're going to have on that person? And then hopefully, you know, we've all heard the pay it forward, right? What if I did what I could? Here's a crazy thing. What if we did what we could? What could we all accomplish if all of us did what we could? What could we do together that we couldn't do alone? What if I did what I could and you did what you could? And then we collectively did what we could do. We have a really awesome mission team here. Chaired by an extraordinary person, right? Now, as awesome as she is, she can't be the mission team alone. So she has people on her team, and they get together, and they're all great people. And then you throw in somebody who's excited about mission work, right? And comes every meeting with ideas of what we can do and how we can change our community. And when we change ourselves, and when we start looking inward and we say, these are things we can legitimately do to help people, we change ourselves, we change our outlook, we change our hearts. And then when we change ourselves, we go into our communities, and then they see the change, right? We've all heard, be the change that you want to see in the world, right? None of this that I'm talking about is new, people. None of it. This is a story about a woman who wanted to be the change, right? She took the opportunity. She took the love that Jesus Christ had given to her, and she turned it around and she gave it back. That is something that all of us in this room can do. It doesn't have to be a grand, planned thing. It can be one small act of kindness. One small thing today that makes you feel better. And then tomorrow, you're going to want to do it again because that felt great what I did yesterday. Our missions team here has opportunities at least once a month for us to do something. So if you can't think of something on your own and you just have to help in some form or fashion, get with the mission team because they have ideas. And I know in May we're going to do a bed build. And the mission team, as great and as awesome as they are, they can't build 36? We can't build 36 beds just with the mission team. We're going to need your help. Right? That's something that we can do. That we can do. We can change lives simply by taking the love of Jesus Christ that we have and sharing it with others through service. Small acts of kindness. She did what she could. I know Lent's coming up And a lot of pastors talk about giving something up or whatever. I have never, ever, ever given anything up for Lent. I'm just going to call myself out. I've never done it. Never. I don't like any one thing, to be honest. There's nothing that I like that I would be a hardship. I'm not a chocolate person. I'm not a pop person. I'm not a candy person. I'm not. So what I try to do is I try to add something, right? I try to figure out what can I do that could change somebody else. Maybe it's just working on myself, right? Maybe it's just a habit that I have that I'm trying to be better about. So what if we all, through Lent, we just decided that for those 40 days, we weren't going to give something up. We were just going to walk through each day, sharing the love of Jesus Christ with others. In any small, big, extravagant way that you can come up with. Maybe it's just a smile today. Maybe it's helping somebody with groceries tomorrow. I don't know. There's a book, and it's actually called She Did What She Could. And the author is Eliza Morgan, and she wrote this one particular section so beautifully that I really just thought that it was best if I just read her words for closing this morning. It says, her gift touched Jesus in the moment. The fragrant oil running off his hair, down his temples, onto his neck and his chest, comforting him with love when it mattered most to him. I wonder whether later Mary's gift gave again. As Jesus prayed in a midnight garden setting, tortured by thoughts of what lay ahead and privately battling with his destiny. As he stood before the high priest, and then Pilate, then Herod, and then back before Pilate, enduring their ridicule and accusations. As the thorny crown was smashed down on his head, as he bent his back under the lashes of the whips, as he struggled to carry a heavy cross through the streets of Jerusalem and up a dusty hill, as he was laid out on that cross and fixed to it by heavy iron nails through his hands and feet, as he hung in crucifixion, as his head fell to his chest, dipping under the weight of his suffering, did any fragrance still linger, mingling with the blood? Did it bring back, however briefly, that tender moment? In those hours of torture, when the soldiers taunted him by shaking wine before his parched lips, did the remembrance of her gift revive his soul? As he turned to the right and to the left, taking in the two suffering with him and offering to each of them the hope of heaven, did any remaining fragrance convince his frail humanity of the truth of his own promise? As he looked down and beseeched his dear friend and follower John to take in his mother as his own, to care for her after his death, did any small part of the smell rise from his chest to his nostrils and warm him with comfort that indeed she would be held close in her grief? Jesus gave Mary of Bethany access to himself, because she had fully received all he held out to her in his presence and his teaching and his very being. She had been forever changed. And she acted from the reality of the relationship that she shared with him. Through all of that, did just a touch of fragrance remind him of the kindness that was given to him just days before. Imagine what your kindness could do for someone else.